प्रथम तुला वंदितो कृपाळा, प्रथम वंदितो कृपाळा, प्रथम तुला वंदितो कृपाळा, गजानना गणराया, प्रथम तुला वंदितो कृपाळा, प्रथम तुला वंदितो कृपाळा, गजानना गणराया, प्रथम तुला वंदितो कृपाळा, प्रथम तुला वंदितो. विघ्न विनाशक गुणीजन पालक, विघ्न विनाशक गुणीजन पालक, दुरित तिमिर हारक, दुरित तिमिर हारक, सुखकारक तू दुःख निवारक, सुखकारक तू दुःख निवारक, तूच तुझा सारक, वक्रतुंड ब्रह्मांड नायक, वक्रतुंड ब्रह्मांड नायक, विनायक प्रभुराया, वंदितो कृपाळा, प्रथम तुला वंदितो. सिद्धी विनायक तूच अनंता, सिद्धी विनायक तूच अनंता, शिवात्मजा मंगला, शिवात्मजा मंगला, सिंदूरवदना विद्याधीशा, सिंदूरवदना विद्याधीशा, गणाधिपा वत्सला, तूच ईश्वरा सहाय करावे, तूच ईश्वरा सहाय करावे, आभव सिंधू तराया, प्रथम तुला वंदितो कृपाळा, प्रथम तुला वंदितो कृपाळा. गजवदना तव रूप मनोहर, गजवदना तव रूप मनोहर, शुक्लांबर शिवसुता, शुक्लांबर शिवसुता, चिंतामणि तू अष्टविनायक, चिंतामणि तू अष्टविनायक, सकलाची देवता, रिद्धी सिद्धीचा वरदया, रिद्धी सिद्धीचा वरदया, येई कृपेची छाया,
Shri Mataji, Mushkan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Jai Shri Mataji, respected brothers and sisters from the global Sahaj family. Salam sejahtera dari Malaysia. Warm greetings from Malaysia. We've just heard a beautiful bhajan from the Delhi music team and also the instrumental music by Pandit Prabhakar Dakde Guruji. Now, before we proceed, we would like to also welcome some new yogis who have joined us for the very first time. We pray that you will continue to join us every week to strengthen our collectivity. Today, being the International Women's Day, we take this opportunity to wish all our lovely sisters happy Women's Day. May Shri Mataji continue to bless all of us abundantly. Now let's keep our attention in our hearts and let us feel Shri Mataji's love flowing through us. And with complete reverence, we pray. Param Puja Shri Mataji, we, your children from across the world, humbly seek your permission, blessings, guidance, and protection to have this global online meditation. Shri Mataji, verily you are the doer and the enjoyer. And we, your children, Shri Mataji, do nothing at all. Shri Mataji, we thank you from the core of our hearts for giving us this beautiful opportunity to meditate and worship your holy lotus feet collectively. We are also eternally grateful to you, Shri Mataji, for giving us our self-realization, the highest gift to mankind, and for showering us with all your blessings and protection. Shri Mataji, our only desire is to please you, to be completely surrendered at your holy lotus feet, to be one with you always, and to be your humble instrument to spread Sahaja Yoga around the world. Shri Mataji, koti koti pranams at your holy lotus feet again and again from all your children. Today, brothers and sisters, we are once again blessed to have our dear brother Victor Votuni di Albanella from Italy to once again lead our session and then share his innumerable experiences with Shri Mataji. Born in London, our brother Victor moved to Italy in the early 90s after his marriage to Sister Purna in Sahaja Yoga. Besides being a teacher, he is also a very great musician, a very dedicated, devoted, and dynamic Sahaja Yogi. Just a few days ago, together with his wife, they both organized a marathon peace concert, which lasted more than 6 hours. Let's stay on till the end to listen and enjoy what he has to share, both his experiences and his music, including a new composition which he has done for Shri Mataji's in conjunction with her birthday. So without wasting any more time, let's put our hands together and welcome our dear brother, Victor, to lead our session. Over to you, brother. Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji. It is so beautiful to be here, and by Mother's grace, through her divine vibrations, to feel the connection with all one's brothers and sisters around the globe. We are all connected in our hearts, because in our hearts there is an altar upon which rests our Mother's lotus feet, that we worship daily with all our hearts. May our actions be worthy. May our words be true and sweet. Let us just feel the vibrations. Are we connected? Can we feel the cool breeze in our hands? We can just hold up our hands towards Shri Mataji. Hold out our hands and see if we can feel the cool breeze already flowing. Now let us together place them at the base of the spine and raise the Kundalini all together with full attention on the inside. Let's take our time to feel and do it gracefully. It is the Mother Kundalini within us we are calling. And let us put the bandhan of protection around us. And again, with our hands facing upwards on our laps, let us just pay attention to the flow. In the moment, in the present. Let us pray now to Sri Ganesha. Please remove all the obstacles in the path of my ascent. Please remove every knot, any impurities along the gateways to the Sahasrara. Let us take Sri Ganesha's mantra together. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. O Eternal Lord, you are the source of wisdom, the source of purity, the source of bhakti, and the source of joy. Please awaken these qualities within us so that they blossom and their fragrance is perceived by all those around us and awakens the desire in all those around us to know their mother, the Divine Mother, Shri Adishakti, Shri Mataji, Shri Nirmala Devi. O Lord Ganesha, you are also the one to whom we turn at times of danger, when we are surrounded in the battlefield and there is seemingly no way out. It is to you we surrender, asking you to protect us with all your ganas. O Lord, when we are faced with calamity, when the innocent are being harmed, we turn to you and we pray with all our hearts to destroy all the negativity that attacks innocence. Only your divine intervention and weapons can achieve this. we can only witness your unmatched courage and strength and bravery. Please awaken our discrimination. Please manifest in every chakra. We humbly bow to you in our hearts. It is you who allows us to approach the sanctum sanctorum, where resides the Devi. And it is to you, Mother, Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi, that we turn with complete faith, adoration, and surrender. May we take your divine names and sing together and celebrate the opening of the Sahasrara, the three great mantras. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Trigunatmika Kundalini Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Sahasrara Swamini Moksha Pradayini Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Let us now listen to a talk that was given by Her Holiness Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi in Cabela Ligure. Let us keep our hearts and minds open to every pearl, every nuance of our beloved Mother's talk.
So today is a day when you have to promise me that you will meditate every night, every evening, maybe in the morning also. Whenever it is possible, if you can go into meditative mood, you are in contact with this divine power. Then whatever is good for you, whatever good for your society, for your country, all is done by this divine power. You don't have to overpower the divine power. You don't have to order, you don't have to ask. Just if you meditate, you are one with this all-pervading power, which is another great blessings to us. Unless and until your Sahasrara is open, all the blessings of the divine power cannot come to you. Cannot. Maybe you might get some money, you might get some jobs, you might get this and that. But your own development is only possible when you meditate and your Sahasrara is completely open and open to truth. Now the truth is that this divine power is compassion, is love. This is the truth. They say God is love, God is truth. So the equation has to be made that truth is love and love is truth. But it's not a truth that as you have for your own children, you have for your family. Attached love is not truth. If you are attached to somebody, then you never see the bad points of that person. If you are angry with somebody, then you can never see the good points of that person. But it's a complete detached love. And that love is extremely powerful. Because whenever you project that love to anyone, you will be surprised. The problems of that person will be solved, his personality will improve, everything will work out in a very big way, and his life will be changed. But if you are attached to anything whatsoever, that attachment itself causes problems and doesn't allow Sahaj to grow. This attachment could be any kind. For example, you can be attached to your country, attached to your society, attached to your family. It can be of any kind. But when Sahasrara is open, you learn one thing is detachment. It just happens that you get detached. Though, you are not running away. As it is in Sahaja Yoga, we don't believe in people who run away from society and go to Himalayas, or that I call up as escapism. That is not the point. What happens is that you are there, you see everyone, you watch everyone, you know everyone, you are close to everyone, but you are a detached person. It's a state of mind that you achieve when Sahasrara is open. Then that state you are dealing with people, you are dealing with problems, you are dealing with situations, but you are not involved in it. There's no involvement. And that involvement which you had before can never give a complete insight what is happening, what is the truth is about any situation. So this detachment helps. The greatest thing of the detachment is that you are not affected. No use saying that, oh, you are not affected, mother, so how can you feel for another person? How can you have compassion for another person? Because if you feel for another person, then only you can solve the problem. But this feeling that you have is again a kind of an attachment. It is not a real feeling, because it doesn't help. The person is crying, you are also crying. The person is troubled, you are also in trouble. And this does not help that person, nor will it help you. So to have detached in no way means you do not feel the another person. You do feel. You feel the agony of that person, the trouble of that person, of the whole society sometimes, and of the whole country. But that your feeling is so detached that the all-pervading power takes over. First, we must have full faith in the capability of this all-pervading power. As soon as you are detached, you say, you do it. Finished. Once you say that, you are going to do it. It's you who is going to do it. Whole thing changes completely, because you transfer all your responsibilities, all your problems to this divine power, which is so powerful, which is so capable, which can work out anything. So whenever you think that this problem you are going to solve, you are the one who is going to do it, then all right, the divine power says, all right, try your luck. But if you can really put this problem to the divine power, it will work out. We have all kinds of problems in Sahaja Yoga, especially when we find that people are not so much attracted to Sahaja Yoga. They are few in number, then you feel very bad about it. But have you tried to meditate on this point, and have you tried to put this problem to the divine power? Why should we worry when we have divine power available through our Sahasrara? Why should we worry? Why should we think about it? Just leave it to the divine power. If that is possible, if that you can achieve, which is very difficult for human beings, because they live with their ego, they live their conditionings. But if that attachment to all these things goes away, then what you do is just leave things to this power. Krishna has said in his Gita, Sarva dharmanam parityajya mamekam sharanam vacha. Forget about all your dharmas. Dharmas meaning that we have a dharma of a wife, of a husband, of a member of the society. All of them have their own dharma. But he says, leave them. And leave it them to me, and I'll manage. This is it we have to learn, is to say that it's this divine power which will solve our problems. As human beings, it's a very difficult state. And this state only can be achieved through meditation. But I'm not saying that you go on meditating for hours together, not necessary. But with full faith in yourself and in the divine power. If you work it out, I'm sure It's not difficult to rise to that state of consciousness. That is what we have to achieve. It's possible for men as well as for women. They don't have to think, how can we, mother, do it after all? See, all such people are no good for Sahaja. Those who have diffidence about themselves cannot do anything. But those who are surrendered and those who think they can do it can manage all this transfer of their power to the divine power. Just put it on the divine power. Now supposing I have a car which can drive me down. So if I have a car, then I don't put bullocks on it, that I don't push my car. I just sit inside and use it. In the same way, if you have this great power around you, if your Sahasrara is absolutely, completely submerged in it, then you will be amazed how things work out for yourself. I will give you an example of Sahaja Yogi. He is no more now. He was a fisherman, ordinary fisherman, but also he was educated, so he was working in a bank. This one was going one day to do some Sahaja Yoga work, and he had to go by boat. So when he came out, he saw the whole place was clouded and it was about to burst out into a big havoc. So he got very much perturbed about it, that what is this? Immediately his Sahasrara was so open and good. Immediately he said, now I leave it to this divine power to stop all these things happening. I don't want it to rain and to have any problem till I come back home and go off to sleep. And it was surprising. People told me that, Mother, the clouds and everything were there all throughout, but it did not rain, did not do anything, and there was no chaos of any kind. He went to another island where he had to go. He did Sahaja Yoga and came back. And then when he went to sleep, then only everything started pouring down. So nature, everything, every leaf, every flower, everything is worked out through the divine power. So we should not have our ego that we can do something ourselves, we can manage ourselves. Once you have that kind of a thing, you are not yet that much developed. You are not that much grown up in Sahaja Yoga. But to grow up in Sahaja Yoga should not be difficult for you, because you have guidelines. Those people who got their realization, very few of them, like Sufis, and we had some saints in India, all of them. How much they must have struggled. Nobody to guide them, nobody to help them, nobody to tell them about what they can achieve. And despite that, they were very satisfied people, very happy people, and they worked it out so well. They saw the whole world with another angle, as you can also see, but they were not upset, and they had such self-confidence. They had such knowledge of their own that they achieved through their meditative process. And the way they have written books, some of them are so great. It's very surprisingly how they have achieved these great verses, such full of knowledge. One cannot understand that they had no guidance. Nobody was to tell them. But one thing with them was that they always tried to look after their Sahasrara. Now one thing is there obstructing Sahasrara is the movement of your agya into thoughts. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that stops your entry into Sahaja Yoga. Thoughts are coming all the time, because a human being is born who reacts to everything. React to this and react to that, and the thoughts come in and thoughts go. There's a big crowd of thoughts. Because of that, your attention cannot cross over agya and can reside in the Sahasrara. So first of all, one should see what sort of thoughts are coming. You have to condemn yourself sometimes. You have to say, what nonsense, what have I been doing? What's the matter with me? How could I do all that? Once you start doing that, these thoughts will start disappearing. These thoughts are coming from two angles, one from the ego and another from your conditionings. And these are so much built up within you that they don't allow your agya to be crossed. That's why we have two bija mantras of Ham Ksham. First one is, when it is conditioning, you are endowed with this kind of a fear. I shouldn't do like this, I shouldn't do like that, is not allowed, that is not allowed. That's the conditioning part of it. Conditioning can be of many types. But the ego part of it is that I must overpower everybody, I must get this, I must be able to rule everyone. These two things are there in the mind which are all the time crossing. So it's important that we should go into thoughtless awareness. And that thoughtless awareness is the real way that your Sahasrara can be nourished by the Kundalini. Because Kundalini cannot go through, cannot pass through. And for that, as I said, there are two bija mantras. One is Ham, another Ksham. So if you are conditioned, you are frightened, you are afraid, and you had ideas about yourself. These days, the way people are describing, they'll say, I'm an extrovert. Somebody will say, I'm an introvert. Somebody will say, I'm hippie, I'm that. All kinds of things they can have attributed to themselves. But these ideas are all coming from outside. They are not from inside. To get to the inner side of yourself, to the subtler side of your being, you must allow the Kundalini to go through the agya. To cross the agya is a very important thing in modern times. And for that, you have to meditate. If you can meditate with complete faith in yourself, this agya can be opened up with surrendering to the divine. You have to surrender yourself to the divine. And when this agya opens, you'll be amazed. Your Sahasrara is just waiting to transfer, to give you all the help that you need through the all-pervading power. Your connection of Sahasrara with the all-pervading power is established. And by that, you'll be amazed how all these 7 chakras work for you, how they help you, how they try to give you whatever is the real knowledge about everything. This real knowledge that you get is very joy-giving. You can see this real knowledge in everything. You don't have to start reading any book about it. In every situation and in every person, in every flower, in every natural happening, you see clearly the hand of the divine. Once you see the hand of the divine, your ego starts disappearing. Once you say that it's you do everything. Kabira has said something great about this. He said that when the goat is alive, it goes on saying, I am, I am. But when it is slaughtered and its intestines are made into strings which are used for cleaning the cotton, then it said, tu hi, you are. See, in this symbolic way, they have suggested that you have to become dissolved into this divine power. It's the divine power that does everything. What am I? I was just a drop, and I fell into this ocean of awareness of the divine power. And that is taking over and working it out. That will help you a lot to be a great servant. You develop curing powers, but still you are not proud of it. You developed, of course, awakening powers, you are not proud of it. You develop so many creative powers and you are not proud of it. You become really very, very creative, extremely creative. But the greatest thing happened to you that you become a global personality. So you start seeing the problem of every country, of every other nation where they have problems. But these problems, when you see, you don't see like other people, because others may like to use it for their own purpose, maybe for media, maybe for something. What you want to see is that these problems are solved. See, your powers are so great with this kind of a mind, I would say, which is dominated completely by the divine power, that whatever disturbs you immediately is taken over and it starts working out. Many, many problems have been solved by Sahaja. And also they can be solved on a very universal level. If you are a global person, if you are a global person, then what happens is that you become a sort of a vehicle, or you can become like a channel for this divine power to act, because you are purely a global personality. Not attached to this, attached to that, but a pure Sahaja personality which can be used by this divine power very easily.
Let us take our Divine Mother's words and put them into action together, collectively, with our attention on the Ukraine. And let us put a bandana of protection for our brothers and sisters. Let us desire with all our hearts that they may be protected, together with all the population of the Ukraine. Most mighty, benevolent and compassionate Mother, we pray for peace in this world, peace inside and peace outside. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. Let us remain in silence for a few moments, channeling, projecting our love to the Ukrainian people. Who are under attack, but also those who do not support the violence. All those in Russia who find it unbearable and difficult to witness. Wherever there is darkness in the world, we pray your light may shine, Shri Mataji, and that we may be your lanterns and bring the light into every corner. This room where I sit is suddenly lit by cool rays of light of eternal delight. And inside my head I am free from dread. No thoughts arise, no feelings collide, and my breath is still and my heart is filled with a feeling of bliss from a motherly kiss. And deep in my soul at last I am whole. No doubts remain to darken love's flame. This breeze is all around. It fills me with a sound. It takes my thoughts away. My home's her motherly embrace, her gentle smiling face. She takes my thoughts away. The glitter of gold on my soul has no hold. Fame and power, illusions I no longer desire. No comfort or pleasure can equal this treasure. The child has come home to his mother's womb, and my breath is still and my heart is filled with a feeling of bliss from a motherly kiss. And deep in my soul at last I am whole. No doubts remain to darken love's flame. This breeze is all around. It fills me with a sound. It takes my thoughts away. My home's her mother motherly embrace, her gentle smiling face, she takes my thoughts away, away, away. Let us savor the moment. Feel the bliss. Surrender to the holy stream that flows through us. And channel it out horizontally, all around, beyond the room, beyond the house, beyond the city, across the sea, over the mountains, in an arc, a wave that reaches all our brothers and sisters in need. This is a poem, a song, a prayer by William Blake, who, like Kabira, whom Shri Mataji mentioned, dedicated his entire life through his art to awaken the awareness of humanity. Not so much to a God outside, but to the divine within every human being, every particle, every manifest form. So if every manifest form is the container of divine energy and divine love, then by destroying it we commit an act which is against creation itself. the divine image. To mercy, pity, peace and love, all pray in their distress, and to these virtues of delight return their thankfulness. For mercy, pity, peace and love is God our Father dear, and mercy, pity, peace and love is man, his child and care. For mercy has a human heart, and pity a human face, and love the human form divine, and peace the human dress. Then every man in every clime that prays in his distress, prays to the human form divine, love, mercy, pity, peace. Then all must love the human form, in heathen, Turk or Jew, where mercy, love and pity dwell, there God is dwelling too. O beloved Mother, we pray to you in your form of forgiveness, compassion, Kshama Rupena. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Kshama Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Kshama Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Kshama Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O Mother, we surrender to your almighty power of love, compassion, and purity. Let our hearts be pure, our minds be pure, our actions be loving, creative, nourishing, to celebrate your gift of life to all humanity and our second birth in the Spirit. Let us all stand now and sing the Arti and say the three great mantras all together.
सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना, जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, जग में संकट कारण कितने लिए अवतार, माँ कितने लिए अवतार, विश्व में तेरी महिमा, विश्व में तेरी महिमा, तू गंगा यमुना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, जो भी शरण में आया सुख ही मिला उसको, माँ सुख ही मिला उसको, बैठ के दिल में ओ माँ, बैठ के दिल में ओ माँ, लौट के ना जाना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, मानव में अवतर के कर दिया उजियारा, माँ कर दिया उजियारा, कलयुग में आया है, कलयुग में आया है, फिर भी बन जाना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना, संगीत सुन लो, मधुर संगीत सुन लो, कोई सके जो सेवा, कोई सके जो सेवा हमसे करा लेना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना। जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना। Nirmala Devyai Namo Namah. Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namah. Bolo Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi ki Jai.
We can all bow down together. And to conclude the meditation, let us tie up our kundalini again with abundance. Let us enjoy a few moments of silence and absorb all the vibrations. Jai Shri Mataji.
Brother Victor, we can say a thank you prayer and then we can raise Kundalini and put ourselves in front of them. Then we can share your experiences.
Mother, we thank you with all our hearts for allowing us to share, to be aware of the Chaitanya, the flow of your love, and to enter into your realm through the Sahasrara. We thank you again and again, and we pray that we may be worthy in our deeds for this great blessing. Jai Shri Mataji.
We can now collectively raise Kundalini and take Bhagavad before we listen to Brother Victor. Your video. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for the very, very blissful meditation. Beautiful meditation. Yeah. So now you can share your experiences. We miss Sister Purna though. No, she's at school.
Well, she's working. She's actually, celebrating International Women's Day as she does normally, and as many other yoginis all over the world do, looking after children, looking after others. She's in Cabela right now at the Sahaja Yoga International School at the World Centre, and she's doing some drama classes with the children there. They have a lot of fun.
That's great.
And
yeah. So and convey our love to her. And to
I will. But in fact, it's a good, a way to begin this session, because it's all about the work that women do, and especially all the work that our Divine Mother did in the course of her lifetime, which, if you just put your attention on and you consider 40 years of tirelessly traveling the globe, visiting every single country, and personally, not through a webcam, in a seated, but actually traveling on planes, long journeys, and giving thousands of programs, and literally awakened millions during the course of her lifetime. And she never stopped, even after those programs. She would continue talking to people, working on them, healing them, advising them, sorting out their lives, resolving their problems as a mother would, not just as the global spiritual leader that she was, which is any term we could use is doesn't come anywhere near, because what she did was to actualize all the teachings that we have received. She actualized them personally. And Cabela became the headquarters. It wasn't just a beautiful palace, a villa in Italy. It was a kind of workshop for this kind of process of growing us, her children, through all the activities and involvement in the activities, but also growing a world family, in the sense that the oneness that we experience on a subtle level had to be manifest on a material and physical level. And that meant working together and confronting each other. And people literally from all over the world, all nations, all backgrounds, all cultures, with our lovely little egos and our baggage of conditioning, had to confront each other. And actually it was fun. We had a lot of fun. It was a big adventure. We didn't get much sleep. But who wanted to sleep when Shri Mataji was in Cabela and you happened to live there? You wanted to take every single moment of that. And Mother's tireless work, I think, is an example. Her not only her living legacy of the emancipation of humanity through Kundalini awakening, through Sahaja Yoga, but her example of tirelessly working it out and spreading it to the whole world. And I mean, with her as an example, that what more, all of us have. Well, we can never measure, but we can never stop as a result. We all have to feel. Nobody can have. I mean, there were no weekends, there were no holidays, for Mother. She was constantly, even if she was on holiday or on a weekend or with her family, there were kind of dozens of people that she saw, that she cared for. I mean, she was absolutely remarkable, and we just take that as inspiration, all of us.
Very true, brother. And you had the best of both worlds, both in London as well as in Cabela.
Yeah, I was, I suppose, one of the a Yuva, I guess. I was 19 when I first met Shri Mataji. Before I start, how long have I got? Because I know how I want to condense it. Because
you can speak. Don't worry about the time. You just leave the flow. I know it's early for you, but it's not so early for us. But it's okay.
All right, I'll keep it short. Because I wanted to also share something which is relevant to the times that we're living in at the moment. Yes. But I was just a 19-year-old student. I was actually seeking quite intensely, and I have to admit that I was extremely lucky, kind of first shot in my seeking, to be able to meet a Sahaja Yogi. I mean, I was literally plucked from, I didn't have to go and do all the sort of experimentation that can, lead to problems in the subtle system later on. I was just very blessed to meet a Sahaja Yogini who took me back to an ashram, worked on me with her friends, gave me dinner first, of course, following the custom that Shri Mataji, of course, established of hospitality, a sort of benevolent, loving, homely kind of hospitality, and then they worked on me. But I consider the moment, my beginning in Sahaja Yoga, was meeting Shri Mataji at Heathrow Airport, end of May, just before, Sahasrara, I think, where she arrived at Heathrow Airport, and I saw her for the first time, and I was just, blessed to be able to recognize that she was my guru instantly. I immediately, unconditionally felt, oh, she's the one, she's the one. And I didn't know exactly who she was. And it didn't really matter. I just knew she was the one I would follow and I would get the answers from. And you know, of course, it takes many, many years to grow, you know, and it's a long process. But I was blessed, and that she was my reference point, I think, for everything at the beginning in Sahaja Yoga, because everything was in, not turmoil, but everything was dynamic, everything was moving. Mother was building Sahaja Yoga, you know. It was being developed and she was spreading it all over the world. So literally building, because ashrams were being built, work was going on, and it was always active and dynamic. And that's one of the things that us perhaps Western yogis need to come to terms with, is the Maya aspect of it. I mean, what is all this kind of manual work, literally making cement sometimes and carrying bricks and all kinds of things, got to do with spiritual ascent? And it seemed that was, now looking back on it all, it was all about breaking of our conditionings, not being in the mind on the mental level, and somehow a way of repairing the damage on the Sushumna channel at the level of chakras, I suppose, the Nabi chakra possibly. Matter somehow on the material level helps to work out the Nabi. Our communication with each other helps to work out and open the Vishuddhi. Our ability to have compassion for others and ourselves in that process, you know, not get too right-sided, but keep the heart open, is a way of developing the heart. Being diplomatic when you want to make a suggestion or ask someone to do something, or maybe correct them, or receiving correction, not reacting to that, and just evolving, and then forgiving, of course. Forgiving, again, others, forgiving yourself unconditionally, as our mother does. And of course, the longed for stability of connection in the Sahasrara. While you're doing all of that, suddenly you realize that something's being taken away, and suddenly you find yourself, your mind freer, and entering into that state. Suddenly you find yourself, I remember vividly, one of the deepest experiences I had, I think, of samadhi, if you like, of thoughtless awareness, was after I'd mixed some plaster for Shuddhi camps and taken it to John Watkinson, who was the master plasterer, and brought it to him and put them down the bucket and splashed myself. I just sat down and I was just taken into that, I think you might call it the dimension where you feel connection with Lord Shiva, with the all-pervading, the formless. And those were the kind of experiences that one had. But I wanted to just say how Mother, you know, I mean, if you think of somebody who's building an international corporation or even an organization, they're in an office, they're so busy organizing that they don't have time to communicate. In fact, often they don't have any, they lose touch with people. Whereas Shri Mataji did the opposite. It was through being available and in touch and connected and interacting with everybody that she built this global family that transcends our cultures, our frontiers, and however utilizes all the technologies, all the physical aspects of man's evolution for the benefit and the good of our spiritual ascent. So she took planes, she spoke on the mobile phone, and all sorts of things. But she was always...
she also spoke about the mask.
The mask.
Yes, wearing mask.
Go on.
Yeah. Currently, we are all using masks, right? He has already told us 1980s.
The masks.
Using the mask.
Oh, yeah.
Face
yes.
mask.
The ego, I suppose. But on the other hand, not to become a kind of lifeless, single sort of, you know, one doesn't mean becoming the same as everybody else. One could, you know, I mean, she, for example, always encouraged creativity and the spontaneity, and there's the joy there, and the way it's expressed by all the different in all its different hues, colors, and forms. And I think that was a very beautiful thing that we experienced in the Kabbalah World Center, because effectively, before it was even called the World Center, it was because so many pujas were held there every year, 10, I believe, 10 pujas, from Guru Puja to Diwali or Navaratri. And so the world came to her feet and interacted. And so you met yogis from all over the world, and you find out about how Sahaja Yoga was being spread in there. And what was wonderful was enjoying the variety of all our brothers and sisters. And that was a given. And this was a very, very clear, it was very clear to understand that the whole point of this oneness that we experienced in meditation is literally, it really is a oneness that has to be felt between us as human beings. And I suppose those masks of nationality, of profession, of caste, of class, of education, are simply aspects, if you like, of our personality, but that ultimately we bow to the altar in each other's hearts. I mean, there is literally a oneness. And so when you see, you understand patriotism, because
Yes.
Mother was a patriot, and that's what spurred the freedom and liberation and emancipation of India, not to be subjected to someone else's power. But nationalism is quite another thing, because that can lead to a notion of an identity that is superior to another, not just different. And so all those kind of things, it all came into perspective there in Kabbalah. We had to confront each other, and we had to embrace each other, sing together, work together, and enjoy each other's particular qualities. I remember a bouquet of flowers being offered to Shri Mataji on one of the last occasions. Actually, it was on, I believe it was on Mother's Day, and it was a beautiful, beautiful bouquet, full of all sorts of flowers and different colors. It was huge. It had to be carried in by at least 2 people, and it was offered to her. And she looked at it and she commented on it. And I cannot remember her exact words, but it was to the effect of, they're all one. They're all one. They're all together. And in fact, the aroma, the fragrance of flowers, when the fragrance leaves the flower, it merges into one great cloud of scent, and it's also so evident. It's so evident, and I think that's it. I think that the main thing, Mother was working constantly, tirelessly, and often up all night. When she came back from a tour, she would come from perhaps having travelled 8, 9, 10 hours on a plane, and she would arrive in Kabbalah, and she would, almost immediately sit in her regal seat there in the main hall in Kabbalah, and would receive everybody, and the flowers and everything. She literally had no thought for herself at all, and selfless, utterly. And this is the thing, and utterly spontaneous, utterly herself, and unexpected, and you felt that Sahaja Yoga was really literally freedom. You can be free to express your joy. You can be free to express your creativity and your love in so many forms within the flow of her love, of her vibrations, and blossom as a flower, if you like. I don't know. I can't stop me, please, because
Yeah.
you can't go
Brother,
on.
some of my friends wanted to know about the TAF.
Well, the TEV is interesting. It stands for Theatre of Eternal Values, and some people know that Shri Mataji founded a theatre company in Kabbalah in 1995. It was officially registered in 96. And she called it Theatre of Eternal Values. But even fewer people know that she was herself not only a theatre goer and patron of the arts, but as a student she produced and wrote plays. And that she told me her dream was to have her own theatre company from her student days. And so when it was actually formed from all the sort of the actors, the dancers, the artists, the writers, choreographers, scene builders in Sahaja Yoga, they came together to form this theatre company in various productions. It was something that Mother really had truly experienced herself, and that for me the theatre company became a kind of workbench for that creation of a Sahaj culture, which is formed from different elements, different influences. And so, over the years, we've had productions that include performers from many, many different countries, speaking English, but not English, but English as it happens to be a common language, but having all sorts of elements mixed in. And I remember when we were about to go on tour in India, she said, the scenery should be rebuilt in India because there are many craftsmen there. They can build very well, they can paint very well, the handicrafts are very developed there. And so it was a way also of reviving and involving the manual aspects of creativity, not just the mental ones or the spoken ones, and also to have that coalescing of different cultures and the interesting thing is it was created at the World Centre, which is where the whole world came, and so it had to be an international theatre company, which it is. And Mother was very particular on all the details. She said it should be a professional theatre company to the highest standard in all departments. And she gave, on various occasions, over a period of months, she gave us the title of our first production, The Imaginary Invalid, by Molière, who she said was a great realized soul, very highly realized soul, very brave, because he denounced all the hypocrisy, all the falsehood in his society. Took some risks as well. Luckily, the king actually had a soft spot for him. Could have been it is dangerous sometimes for artists to express themselves, but she spoke about him as being very, very great in that sense. And she told us about the costumes and how they should be made, the scenery, and to choose the music that should go with the productions. She said I should call everybody, put the call out. There were many talents in Sahaja Yoga, and, they should be involved. So she looked at their CVs and their photographs, and the first, the cast for the first 2 or 3 years of TEV was approved by her personally. And, she attended some of our performances, and she took a great interest. And the way that I feel about Tev is that she, we might have had more diffusion, if you like, of Sahaj culture through a film company, and suddenly it's on Netflix, and you can imagine how many people that reaches. But by creating a theatre company, I believe she put her attention on all the arts, uniting them together, because Tev is a composite, theatre is a composite art form, a collective art form, and in a way, a kind of Sahasrara of the arts at times. If anybody out there, any artist, is wondering whether she gave any advice on production, I don't know, how to direct, how to act, I asked her, and she said only one thing to us. She said, before you start work, put yourselves in bandhan and say my 3 mantras and meditate together. That was the first thing she said, meditate together. So we should be in tune with each other and receptive to the divine creativity. That's how we see it. And after that, we had tours, but we also created events in Kabela following the example of Shri Mataji, promoting the arts in the evening programs on Saturdays. So we took that as a cue to have a festival where you had music, dancers, theatre, visual arts all together in Kabela, and we called that culture of the spirit. Purna received that inspiration from Shri Mataji to start the Culture of the Spirit Festival in Kabela. And, of course, the Academy. Logically, all those artists are coming over to Kabela in the World Centre. They not only perform, but they also teach and share their art and awaken the creativity and guide the creativity of the yogis. Not only yogis, but also people who are attracted to the arts. They're spiritual and they want to have immerse themselves in a spiritual environment and also meditate. So we offer that as well. So by Shri Mataji's grace, this is all continuing. And I have to say on Women's Day that largely, I have to say, it's Purna who has really driven all of these projects with her dynamism, and it is very much to her credit that, and all the members of TEV who have kept on, and all the new members, that it is still going strong. And anybody who wants to kind of make contact with us can go to our website. It's theatreofeternalvalues.com. If you Google it, you'll find it, or nirmalaarts.org. And I hope you will all come to Kabela in the summer, enjoy the Academy, and be part of all of that. It's meditation in motion. You could call it meditation in motion is one way, or in emotion as well.
It's great. Looking forward to coming now. Brother, can you tell us a little bit about the concert that you had recently?
If ever there was a moment when we had to gather our forces as artists in Sahaja Yoga and unite, to reflect unity, to focus all the love in the form of, that was the moment. So the idea was to have this concert to raise awareness, to focus attention on giving support, love, but also practical help. A fund was created by Vishwa Nirmala Dharma. So in the chat and on the YouTube channel, there's a link to the fund so that the evacuating families and yogis and yoginis, not only them, but the ones who are actually still there, can receive funds to sustain themselves in a difficult time. And we had more than 50 separate items, and in videos, short videos, but also a live performance in Kabela, and perhaps I'd say over 100 artists performed. That's why it was 6 hours long. It was very long, but it felt like we had to do a marathon like that, and we could have done 12. It's right to do that because it mobilizes energy, attention, love. And literally there were artists from all over the world, every continent and every generation, all together in unison, calling for peace and giving encouragement and support to those who have to face it, both in the Ukraine and in Russia, because it's not easy to stand up and object to violence, and in places where freedom, there are very serious repercussions. Their lives are at risk if they do that. That was the idea, to unite everybody.
Yeah, there was a great spirit, for all of us to emulate.
There's a lot of work going on around the world on every level. I mean, this is a public streaming. It's a collective meditation, but for every person who's online, you can multiply that by 10 or maybe 100 who are conducting meetings every week, looking after new people, spreading Sahaja Yoga. That work is going on under the radar, as it were, and soon it will rise as a sea change. The sea change is coming, and I really hope, my personal, and this is my own personal view, that we're really in the final manifestation, the last sort of sting in the tail of a beast that has to eventually to go out of evolution, because there's no place for violence, there's no place for aggression to establish and pursue any agendas on this beautiful planet. And Shri Mataji gave us weapons, and they are, if you like, divine weapons of peace, and we are her peace warriors, and we can use those weapons, bandhans, the vibrations, her mantras, and the connection with her.
I think the whole world, the yogis from all over the world are meditating at some point of time. The whole day, somebody is meditating, So attention is always there. It's good. So would you like to, maybe we'd like to invite you and Sister Purna at another time?
Yeah,
But
together.
for now, you can sing your song or poem.
Yes, I would love to dedicate this song to Shri Mataji. I mean, it is about Shri Mataji on the day of, the International Women's Day. And
it's very apt.
Yes, it's from her birth to her Mahasamadhi, but to her ever-living presence. And so it's it's a ballad. So bear with me, I hope you enjoy it. On the 21st of March 1923, a baby girl was born in a Christian family. Her mother had spared a tiger in the wild, for she knew she bore a special child. Day came for her to take her birth, and all the angels gathered round the earth. The sun shone bright, and the moon that night was radiant in the babe's pure light. She grew up with wisdom's might. She marched for freedom, the people's right. She defied injustice, even torture bore. She came down to end all war. Shri Nirmala, mother of the One, whom all true prophets declared would come, clothed with the sun and the moon at her feet. She gives the love and the light we see. On the day of May 1970, on Nargol Beach under a saru tree, a primordial furnace swirled through her brain. Grace poured down like torrential rain. Shri Nirmala, mother of the one whom all true prophets declared would come, clothed with the sun and the moon at her feet. She gives the love and the light we seek. She knew the time had come for her to show how love can heal the earth, to comfort and redeem the children of the light. From her hands poured the breath of life. She traveled the world, the skies and seas. There isn't a people she didn't meet. She bowed to the seekers, even called them by name. One by one they rose like tongues of flame. Now it's up to us to live in love, no more distinctions of color or caste. Our mother gave birth to a world family, and the world in us must our mother see. Shri Nirmala, mother of the one whom all true prophets declared would come, clothed with the sun and the moon at her feet. She gives the love and the light we seek.
So awesome.
Jai Shri Mataji.
Speechless, listening to your beautiful lyrics and songs. I'm so touched, brother. So privileged. Can't thank you enough, for sending you as an instrument today.
Thank you for the honor, the privilege of celebrating our mother, celebrating the Divine Mother on Women's Day, and in this beautiful event.
She spent a lot of time in Capella, so it's very, very, apt, appropriate for you to speak on her today. And we look forward to hearing from you again, to leading the session and also sharing more stories with all of us.
Thank you, and I promise to bring Purna with me, that she'll be online.
And your sons as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
They're
it's so lovely to connect.
Dynamic, right?
Well, they were born there, they grew up there, and so it's like. But as I said, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of all the young Sahaja Yogis, the new Sahaja Yogis who come and they recognize Mother on such a deep level within themselves and have such a deep connection, and I bow to them.
Yes. I was fortunate to come to Capella only once in my lifetime. So hopefully I can come back again another time. It was,
we look forward to it.
It was an awesome trip there, and Shri Mataji was really spending a lot of time in musical nights and the puja, and going to the castle and getting listening to her lectures personally. You can't explain the joy that you have, till today. It's just like it's now etched in our hearts. So,
there's, if I may interrupt, there's one thing I forgot. I forgot to actually. Briefly, I just wanted to share one thing which is relevant to the times, because it can be frustrating to feel, what can we do, And I remember Mother had, at the beginning, we had lots of issues in Italy. There was a sort of, how should we say, there was an unholy collusion between public institutions and religious institutions and criminal institutions. And she was reading a book called In God's Name, and she was saying, I think at least 3 evenings when we were at her feet in her room, how it was doubly evil, because it was wrongdoing, but in God's name, and that was even worse, the worst thing. And having said it 3 times, on the 3rd night, I just felt, well, we're here again, and she's saying it, are we supposed to react? I kind of felt, and I asked Mother, should we do something about it? Should we? And she said, what do you mean by do? And I said, demonstrate publicly, lobby. And she said, she kind of sat back and chuckled. She sort of laughed, and she said, well, just watch the play. Watch the play. The Param Chaitanya will take care of it and will expose them all. And we could give bandans and put our attention on it. I'm just summarizing. And that was the thing that she said. And shortly after that, she called a Havan for those issues. And the yogis came from all around, not just from Italy, but all the surrounding countries. It was called literally the night before it happened. There were a few hundred yogis, and there was a Havan, and we said the 1,008 names of the Adi Guru. And the Guru Puja is always held in Italy, so it was. And literally a few days after that, there was a scandal came up about corruption that led then to the Clean Hands movement and numerous convictions and a sort of various reforms, and big changes happened in Italy as a result of that collective attention on the situation, surrendering it basically to her in the Havan. So I just wanted to share that.
It's a great listening to that particular topic. Especially now we have put a lot of attention on all these things. 1,008 sir.
Yeah.
Recite
It was,
100.
yes, it was. It was. It was the 1,008 names, and I'm not sure if Havan is appropriate for this current situation, but it was just how, if we unite our forces together in the spiritual instruments that Mother has given us, it will surely have an effect. Yeah.
Just to emit love and compassion. To resolve.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I felt
it's okay. It's all right. It's your day today. So we will look. We thank you for coming today.
Pleasure.
No, it would have been nicer to listen to you more, but because of the timing. So we look forward to hearing from you again next time with your entire family.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Maheshwari.
No
Thank you, everybody. Jai Shri Mataji.
Thank Shri Mataji for sending you as an instrument, and you also like to thank Mushkan for assisting us from Yermada.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
He was one of the singers who sang the Arati.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, so we look forward to hearing from all of you. And next week we have Dr. Sujata, who will be leading the session and sharing her joy as well and experiences with Shri Mataji. So, brothers and sisters, don't forget to join us again next Tuesday, same time. And thank you for joining us today. And again, we thank Shri Mataji for all her love and compassion that she had showered upon all her children across the world. Jai Shri Mataji.